Chad from Autel Diagnostics, and welcome to the shop. On today's episode, we're working on the pinnacle of luxury and power, a 1997 Pontiac Trans Am with an LT1 V8. And no, we're not working on the OptiSpark today, but I'm sure that will be happening a little bit later. Today, we're going to work on the throttle position sensor. I wanted to test the throttle position sensor to make sure that it's functioning properly and that it's not losing or missing out during the sweeping process. Now, the MaxiSYS Ultra has a very unique feature that lets us do this at the same time. So let's check that out on the tool itself. Our first step in this process is to ID the vehicle. Now remember, this is a 1997. It's not going to be able to auto ID. So let's give the tool as much information as we can to be able to have that information stored in the tool the next time this car comes back. So what we're going to do is we're going to select Diagnose and select VID. Then we're going to select Scan VIN. If we select the top option here, that's actually going to scan it by barcode. So we're going to take that over to the barcode in the windshield. And you see that it automatically grabbed the VIN number directly from that barcode. We're going to go to the back of the vehicle and we're going to take a picture of the license plate. And there's a picture of our license plate. That is okay. Now we need to tell it what we're working on. We are working on a General Motors vehicle, and it asks for the mileage if we want to do that. I don't want to do a pre-scan, post-scan on this vehicle, so we're going to go ahead and select Standalone Diagnostics. Now, like I said, this is a 1997 vehicle, so we know that VINscan is not going to work on it. It's not going to be able to decode it. But we want to give as much information to the scan tool as possible because the scan tool will store this information. So we're going to go ahead and select OK and do a manual selection. And this is a 1997 passenger car Pontiac Firebird. We do have the big monster 5.7 with this 4-speed automatic. And now we have all the information populated for that vehicle. And you can see our topology map is not very big for this vehicle because there's only 4 modules to be able to work with. But I know exactly where I want to go. I want to go directly into the powertrain module. So we're going to go ahead and select powertrain, and we're going to go directly there because I want to get the live data for this vehicle via the PCM. I want to go to the throttle position sensor. So we're going to select live data, engine live data, engine data 1. Luckily, this list isn't very big, so we're going to go right here to throttle position sensor, and we'll go ahead and select throttle angle as well. We're going to show selected, so those are the only ones on the screen, and I also want to graph those out. So from here, now I can see what the computer sees when I actuate the throttle position sensor. So let's go ahead and do that. And you can see that we have a nice curve showing up on the scan tool. And that's a great indication that our throttle position sensor is working correctly. But remember, a throttle position sensor going to the PCM is processed information. So how do we verify that? And how do we make sure that that voltage is correct going to the PCM? It's always great to double check that. And the way we also do that in the past is using a DVOM, measuring the voltage and hopefully graphing that out to make sure we have a smooth sweep and no dive outs in it and no dropouts. So what we're going to do on the MaxiSYS Ultra is we're going to select split screen, which actually looks like a little pause button down here at the bottom. We're going to go ahead and select measurement, and we're going to go into our multimeter. It's going to give us a generic information about how to hook this multimeter up, but you can see now that I have my millivolts displayed and a graph displayed at the same time. I'm still looking at my live data for my OBD2 port, and we're doing this all wirelessly. So you can see my millivolts there match very, very close to what my voltage is showing at the PCM. And same idea, I'm going to go ahead and sweep the throttle position sensor as we watch the data on the screen. Now you can see that those are very close together. The voltage showing on the PCM side for live data and the voltage actually coming out of the throttle position sensor were very close and very accurate. Now, what if I wanted to review that? What if I wanted to save that for another time? Maybe there is a glitch in there and I want to record that. Well, I'm actuating the throttle position sensor. I can't exactly do that and push the screenshot button at the same time. Well, Autel has thought of that as well. So if we go back to the Android screen by pushing the house button, we can slide that to the side and you'll see a function that says screen recorder. Let's go ahead and turn that screen recorder on. Whenever we do that, that will actually record the screen on your MaxiSYS tool as a movie or an MP4. You can save that and watch that later, or if you wanted to, you can export that and show that to your customer. So we have a lot of options built there. Now let's go back to our live data. We can do that by clicking on the car, and that opens up our OBD2 information and the live data we were looking at. Let's say we want to get a little bit more precise than just a digital volt ohm meter, and we want to actually see the oscilloscope pattern of that throttle position sensor sweeping through. We could do that as well. So you'll notice that our split screen went away. We're going to go ahead and select the split screen button, and we can select measurement. From there, we can go ahead and select on oscilloscope. This is not automatically going to populate, so we may have to do our settings changes here. We can select channel A, turn that to a 5 volt, because this is a 5 volt reference signal, and then we're going to go ahead and push the play button up here at the top, or our start button. What that's going to do, that's going to change our VCMI from a multimeter to the oscilloscope, and we can see that we have our oscilloscope pattern there now. We have a live oscilloscope and we have our live data on the OBD2 side. So now let's sweep the throttle position sensor and see what happens. And you can see from that we have a very good and clear and clean signal coming out of the throttle position sensor, measuring the voltage, and we can see that that matches what we have on our OBD2 port. So we can verify that that throttle position sensor is working, and it's working well, and the signal is getting back to the PCM without any issues. Some great features built into the MaxiSYS Ultra to give us the diagnostic power we need to make those functions work. Now, this isn't limited to just being able to see live data. We can also use that side of the screen to do bidirectional controls. So let's say we wanted to work on an actuator for evaporative emissions. We can actuate that solenoid and ramp that solenoid up and watch that information at the exact same time using the oscilloscope side of the split screen. I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some more options and some more understanding of the MaxiSYS Ultra and the power behind the Ultra and the VCMI. I'm Chad from Autel Diagnostics. Thanks for joining me. Make sure you click like, subscribe for the next one. There's going to be a lot more tech tip videos coming for the MaxiSYS Ultra, the 919, and the new 909.